Hey, ladies.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
Great, thank you.
Good. How are
Yay.
you?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys so much for joining. I'm requesting you guys on Instagram.
How are you guys
So just
doing?
request me.
Okay.
Good. How are you? I'm doing well. Thank you guys so much for joining. I'm requesting you guys on Instagram.
Do we have an
So just
echo?
request me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're hearing feedback.
Yeah.
Um, is somebody on their phone?
I'm on my phone on Instagram.
I think they should be fine. I don't know why.
I
Okay,
just
let me say something again. Oh, okay. I think it's good now. Can you guys still hear me?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. That's better. So you guys, I'm on Instagram Live. Can you guys see me?
Yes.
Yes.
And I think you have to. I think you just have to request it to join.
So you guys,
Um.
I'm on Instagram Live. Can you guys see me?
You know what? I'm gonna go get like a little stand for my phone.
Oh, that's fine. Hey, everybody. I know we're live. We're just trying to get on all the platforms. We are live on the Stay True Committed podcast. So I have Miss Davina, the Unstuck Coach, with me, and Miss Jessica. She just went out. She's a mindset coach, and so we are waiting on one more person. She did say she is getting ready to come, Mrs. Veritas. I hope I am saying her name right. So we are going to get started in just a minute. I don't know if I have to request. It says you have no request. Yeah, I think you guys have to request. Okay. Ah, got it. Let me see. Uh oh.
There's bad
We got,
feedback.
we got an echo, don't we?
Mhm.
Oops. Um, maybe we. I'm just gonna do this. Can you guys still hear me? Is it loud on here on the restream? Oh,
I dropped because I think when we
okay. Maybe we can't.
have the stream.
Yeah. So maybe we can't. I'll just share it. What I can do is just share it.
Okay.
We can just share this after,
Yeah.
because this records, and for some reason I don't know why Instagram does not have contracts, I guess, with other streaming links. But anyway, I can share it. So you guys, we're gonna get started. Anyway, sorry Instagram. We will share with you later. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Miss Veritas is going to go ahead and come in. Thank you, ladies, for coming to the Stay True Committed podcast. This is Women's History Month. I'm your host, Karen Oliver, and I have some awesome professional women with me. Davina, once again, and Miss Jessica. They are entrepreneurs, business owners, they are coaches. And we just want to have a women's talk, and we just want to talk about a woman's worth. We want to talk about, a sensation of a woman, the things that women go through, or our um, past history, women back then, women now, how women are dominating the business industry. We want to get into some, you know, emotional intelligence, the things that we go through from day to day as even being a mom, as even being a business owner, a sister, a daughter. So we're going to talk about all those things. So Davina, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to let you tell everybody a little bit about your background and what you do.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. I am
Welcome.
so excited to be here. Always love being around women who are chasing big dreams and big goals. And so just really happy to be here. My name is Davina Mcknight. I live in North Georgia. I am what I say a retired corporate hustler. I hustled my way all the way up to my dream job as a district manager. I worked for a major company and had about 20 offices. And what happened in the meantime was I burned myself out. I just wasn't able to show up the way I wanted to in my relationships, and specifically my relationship with my daughter. I'm a single divorced mom. And so I had to make some changes. And a part
Mhm.
of that change was really following my heart and what I knew I wanted to do probably 6 or 7 years ago, but just stepping out on faith and really going for it fully and putting everything on it. And that's what I did, became a certified coach, and
Awesome.
have been able to just help people develop and grow. In ways that they never imagined. And on top of that, making sure that they have the tools to pass that on to their community so that not only they thrive, but so do the people in their homes and the people they go to school with and go to the grocery store with. So
Yes.
just really passionate about helping people get unstuck. And that's what I do full time as a coach. So
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Davina. Jessica.
Yes, like Davina, I want to say thank you for inviting me. I felt so honored and special that you even asked me to be here. So thank you. So I'm Jessica Rivera. I am a business and mindset coach. And so one of the things that, and we can definitely correlate on this, Davina, that I am ex corporate for sure. And I actually loved my corporate job, right? You climb the corporate ladder, you kind of get to the position that you want to get to. And for me, I had a boss that we got to a point where she was extremely micromanaging, right? And I felt like the things that I didn't like about what she was doing to me, I then would do to my team. And I didn't want to be that manager. And so I really started doing a lot of work on myself. I also got certified as a mentor. I did certified in tons of Stephen Covey or Stephen Franklin Covey programs like 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, things like that. And what I learned was that you can create psychological safety with your team and they can continue to hit the goals, and you don't have to micromanage or be mean or all of those things. You can still hold people accountable and highlight all of their greatness. And so once I started seeing all those light clicks and my team really excel, I wanted to do that outside. So that's what I did. I then started coaching people outside of my team, and everything was going really, really well until uh, I told corporate, right? And ethics approved it, but my boss didn't like it.
Mm.
And so, I think it was probably time for me to move on anyway. And so we mutually separated. I guess that's what we call it, right? But again, I think I was so mentally ready and prepared to go the path that life is going to take me and know that I am making the right decision and that ultimately my heart was there. I really wanted to serve people, and that's what I continue to do inside the corporation and then outside the corporation. And so I was ready to go full force, totally on my own. And then a small business came to me that I had known through my corporate world, and they were like, whatever we need to do to get you on board is what we're going to do, and we fully support everything you're doing outside, because they know my coaching helps me and contributes more to their company. And so right now I have just recently joined an organization heading up their training and development, and then I am still also a business coach and still have my leadership accelerator and then I do that as well. So it's been great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. Worked out in your favor. Awesome.
That's the thing that we sometimes don't realize. I mean, I think if I didn't have the mindset and I wasn't mentally prepared when that conversation happened, I probably would have been so crushed and so upset. I had been with the company for 14 years.
Mhm.
Um, but because my mindset was there and because I had already done all the work, I was like, I'm ready to take on whatever life is ready to give me. And I remember me thinking, like, life is happening for me, not to me. Like, this is going to be a really great thing. And it ended up being an amazing thing. And it's crazy how much support you realize you have when you go through these things.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Thank you, Jessica. Um, sis, let me know if I'm gonna say your name right. Is it Veritas?
You were close. Veritas, Veritas, Veritas. I heard Veritas, Veritas, but it's you're very close, so it's fine.
The inspirational guru, would you like to go ahead and let everybody know who you are and what you do?
Oh yes, I love that. Just hearing the ladies before me, both your stories, and just so inspiring to me. Just warms my heart to hear women step out and go for what they want and be successful at it. But my name is Veritas, and I'm the inspiration guru. I'm based in the UK, United Kingdom, London, but I'm global in terms of what I do. I'm a inspirational speaker. I'm a business and manifestation coach. So I mainly specialize in business manifestation coaching because I focus more on the spiritual side of building your business the successful way. And I'm also a lawyer as well. And my story is really I was called to the bar of England and Wales as a barrister lawyer back in 2019. So that's when it was official that I passed all my bar exams, all my law school exams, became a lawyer. But I'm a woman who decided to turn my mess into a message because yes, I became a lawyer in 2019, but 6 years before that, I was on the other side of the law. In 2012, I was in a cell twice, literally arrested, thrown in a cell, charged with a crime. I had three pending convictions against me. I dropped out of university college not once, but twice. Um, I'd failed my semester in my first degree in law three times. I had a 7 year period of constant failures, you name it, rock bottom. I was an ex-glamour model. I was on the streets. All of it. I'd been through it. But one thing I say is glory to God. God had mercy on me and brought me back to Him. And in 2012, 2013, I was given a second chance. All three of the pending convictions were dropped, like in the most shocking way. And the second university college I was in, they took me back, said you can come and finish your degree. And I ran to it. And everything I learned that I'm teaching in my manifestation coaching today is the tools I use to help me go from being a woman who was constantly failing at rock bottom to literally transforming my whole life around, becoming a graduate in law, going to law school, and becoming a lawyer in 2019. So imagine in a 6 year period from 2013 to 2019, God like did a total 360. And it was really like through not only just God being an amazing God, but I had to self-learn a lot of manifestation tips, a lot of self-discipline tips. And then I went into coaching while I was in law school in 2017, because people were coming to me asking me about manifestation tips. How did they start a business? Because I started one when I graduated. And since then it's continued. Now I'm more on the manifestation side because I noticed that a lot of the spiritual tips and the manifestation tips I'm giving people has really helped elevate their business and shift their mindset for their business success. So I'm also a woman in corporate. Funny enough, I left a corporate role I was in for 3 years just yesterday. So hearing your story, and then I'm moving into another corporate role, but I'll also be continuing with my coaching. So that's just me and a little bit of my story in a nutshell. So it's a pleasure to be here. Absolute honor. Thank you so much for bringing me and asking me to be here amongst amazing women.
That is awesome. You ladies are rocking out. And, um, I know this month is so special. And, as women, we, go through a lot. And I was just reminded that this month was Women's History Month, like I think in February. And one of my friends from social media shared it with me. And, this week I've been telling a lot of people to celebrate every milestone, every progress in their life, at uh, whether you're at the final destination you want to be or not. Because I was reminded on March the 20th that I took a leap of faith in my purpose, and there were some things that had to be stripped away from me that upsetted me. It was uncomfortable, but I trusted myself and I trusted God to for the new. And there was people that had to leave. There were people that had to go places that I could not go, and I just had to do kind of like a just. I think I just had to do like a new cleanup. So that's when I started my podcast, and I found WCD Coaching, which means Women Committed to Dreams. I serve women to help them activate, commit, and manifest their purpose not just life but health. And then I started last year my healthy skincare business. So I had to actually just work on me. And I was like, March the 20th, 2022. So it's been 2 years. And, I was saying, well, last year I didn't even really celebrate, but I believe that things come into fruition and comes to mind when it's supposed to. And 2022 is something special that is happening for all of us ladies. And we need to celebrate one another. And I was just like, I got to do this women's panel. And I was saying, who should I connect with? And come to think about it, like, all of us are business owners and coaches, in different areas. And I was just like, I was like, God, you do it. And so I invited you guys because I was like, okay, I want to learn more about Davina, Jessica. I'm gonna say the inspirational guru because I don't want to mess up
That's
your
fine.
names.
It's fine.
And so I know we follow each other on social media, and so we share each other's stories, and so we know what you guys. I know what you guys are doing because you're on my social media, and I just thank God how He has connected women in such a different way. I just wanted to share that there were some people that He, like I said, that He took away from me, and there were some people that He brung into my circle, even just to help me and even mentor me in a way that I need to be mentored. So I just want to say thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedules just to be on the podcast and come on this panel. And let's just go ahead and dive in talking about women and questions. And so I want to know, and Davina, you're going to help us too, because I want to throw a little, I want to throw a relationship question in there. I know that you said that you was recently divorced, and we'll get to that later. And so I want to ask you a question about that, how that can help, what I'm saying, women that may be going, what I'm saying, through something like that, or, what I'm saying, because I know everybody can't cope, everybody cope differently. And so I know that you probably can get some answers on that. So I'm going to ask you that. Okay. I thought I'd throw a little relationship and some advice to help us. Well, I'm single. I don't know if the rest of Jessica, are you married?
No, I'm single.
You're single. Veritas, I know you're single too, right?
Yes, I'm single until God
Okay,
sends me the
okay.
one.
So, what? Since we already talking about it, I'm just gonna go ahead and get on it because Davina, I was like the only person who's married. I kept saying I think is Davina, and you know what? I didn't have to say anything because you know how God works in mysterious ways. You had said it that you were recently divorced. So since we already talking about it, I already bring it up. So, what as being recently divorced, I don't know how many years. Can you tell us how many years you were married? And for women, I don't know if you've helped women in your area with that situation or not, but how is it, or how did you cope with, or the things that you had to go through with being married and getting divorced or whatever?
Yeah. So I was married for 5 years, and I've been divorced for 3 years now. And it is a very hard process to go through. I come from a two-parent home. I've been very fortunate and blessed, and so my parents are still together. And so divorce was very foreign to me as a concept. I know it exists, but obviously you don't go into a marriage thinking that you're going to get divorced. I don't help women specifically, as like relationships, or we talk about divorce independently as something that has happened. But I will tell you what comes up a lot, and I'm sure you all can relate to this, is when you have been hurt and violated, you feel like you've been violated. It's very hard to not only trust other people, but trust yourself again. And I think as women, we struggle with that. Is we've made a mistake, or what we believe to be a mistake, or something that didn't work out the way we wanted it to. And we hold ourselves to that for years after it's happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so not only the work that I do with other women, but as you all know, to be a coach, you have to clear your own vessel too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, you can't have your own stuff in your area and then try to help others. It don't work like that. Okay.
Right.
So in order to truly be able to be the role and the vessel and the support that I need to be for my clients, I've really had to work through it myself. But what it comes back down to, in the best, I don't want to say advice, but steps I would say a person, specifically a woman, needs to go through, is really learning to examine what happened in that situation without necessarily casting blame on yourself or your mate, but just understand what happened so that you can move through it and then you can begin to heal. And I still heal. I'm in a relationship now and it's work. You know what I mean? It's
Are
work
you? So
because
you're dating, Davina.
I'm dating now, and I'm not
Okay.
really, like I said, I came from corporate and I'm a single mom. So I didn't have time to date before. I was in, Dallas working, me and my daughter. Then I moved to Chicago and then I moved back to Atlanta. So I didn't have time to really date. But when I did this kind of, I'm going to call it a early midlife crisis, but this complete shift of like truly stepping out on faith and coaching and really, really going for it. A
Mhm.
part of it was I wanted a healthy relationship. I wanted a partner, but I wanted him to come with some things because I already knew that I still needed space and to gain that capacity again to share the space with them. So it's an everyday process. I don't at all want to make it seem like it is, you know what I mean? It is him sometimes calling me out and saying, what just happened? Like how did we just get there? Right. It's a lot of prayer. It's a
Yeah.
lot of what I have to go to for myself, for my self-care, which is yoga, which is
Mhm.
gardening, which is journaling before I have some hard conversations so I can make sure I'm not projecting. It is my own therapy and counselor and my own coach. You know what I mean? It is me
Yeah.
having fun and not taking myself too serious so that I can
Mhm.
be able to, you know what I mean, accept what's not perfect and move on and still enjoy my life. Like, it's a lot of everyday things that I have to do. And so that is what I would say to women who are recently divorced, just got divorced, or have been divorced and they still feel stuck, is to give yourself grace
Yeah.
and time and understand that a lot more happened than probably you think happened. And you are going to have to unpack those things. But that doesn't mean you have to stop living in the meantime.
Mm. That's good. Jessica and Veritas, you guys can jump in whenever you.
Yeah. So I love that everyone is kind of like on the spiritual side here too, because I am as well. And I think meditating has been like, I mean, I don't think people give enough credit to meditation, but I love what you said because I was in a long-term relationship and I think I was stuck for a minute because, like you said, it's hard to trust yourself when you feel like people have, even aside from my partner at the time, but also a friend, like a close friend, I had felt like had betrayed me. And then it's like, wait a minute, how do you trust these people? And then you just question everything. And so I think you hit on a couple of really, really good things. Number one, trusting yourself and giving yourself grace. I think that's really, really important. And knowing that these downfalls or bad moments in time really help you get to the other side. I think
Mm.
that's I think that something that's not taught to us even as young people. Like, our failures are the best things that can happen to us, and I don't think we realize that. So I think when you start looking at it like that, and I think you also hit on another big one, stop the blame, whether it be you're blaming yourself or super hard on yourself or blaming the other person. Um, and I think as a coach, you could do business coaching all you want. The personal life gets into it because we're all just one being. And so I had a tough conversation about someone who's actually going through a divorce and going through some stuff. And I think we are entirely too hard on ourselves as women and as mothers. Um, and we don't give ourselves enough grace much of the time. So you hit on a lot of really, really good points.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. One of my most major heartbreak, what got me through it is I had to do a lot of prayer because I realized that the pain I was in was bigger than and something I myself couldn't handle. So I had to now go to a higher source to be praying and writing down my emotions. At the time, I didn't have a journal, but I was writing it in my phone. And I found that when I was writing down how I was feeling and releasing everything, it was more therapeutic for me as well, and also changing my environment. So even now, when I have, okay, not even just in romantic relationships, but I have things that are really hurting me. It could be like a friendship or
Yep.
someone I was even just dating that could really hurt me. I implemented journaling like in 2018, and that was life changing for me because when I can't pray because of how much pain I'm in, I write it down, you
Yeah.
know, and writing it down and being able to listen to very therapeutic music. So classical music got me through, neo soul music gets me through, like those therapeutic measures I take. And also, like you said, not blaming myself, you
No.
know, just knowing that it's okay, I'm human. I had a moment where things didn't work out. I'm not sitting down saying, what did I do or what could I have done? It's not about blaming myself and drowning more in the sorrows. It's more of, okay, what lesson can I learn from this? And
Mm-hmm.
it's through being able to journal. Meditation, you're absolutely right. Not enough credit is definitely not given to meditation. Meditation was also a life changer for me. Being able to listen to, I used to download apps like Calm
Mm-hmm.
and Abide, which is a Christian meditation app, and listen to biblical scriptures being spoken to me with music while journaling. That really does help because it does start to tap into your subconscious mind and it triggers the healing process. So journaling is definitely important. Meditation, spiritual practices like meditation, seeking the higher source is very important. And also taking out time to spoil yourself. It's okay to travel somewhere where you can enjoy the
Yeah.
beach. If you're a beach person like me, because I love the beach now, you can travel somewhere with a beach and just take walks and have time to yourself, to love yourself and know yourself.
Yeah.
Or take yourself out to nice restaurants, get yourself some roses, spoil yourself, get yourself a nice pedicure, just have time to yourself to pamper yourself. And that's something I think more of women should do. Don't wait until you're in a relationship to be spoiled. Spoil
Right.
yourself and and take yourself to places and do what you love doing,
Mm-hmm.
even while healing.
Yes, yes, I agree with all you ladies. And speaking of roses, so when I celebrated my level of commitment to God and living into my purpose, I bought me a bouquet of roses and some anniversary balloons. It's the same thing that I had did last year when I came up on my 1 year anniversary for my podcast and everything. And I was like, hey, this is a important milestone of mine before everything else came. And I was like, so let's go out to eat. And that's something that I've always done. I've always taken myself out to eat or taken or went to a movie. Sometimes I get into a habit where I just want to watch Disney. If I'm in a little funk and you know what I'm saying, okay, I want to watch Cinderella. Cinderella is my favorite movie, the movie from 2015. I was like, let me go watch Cinderella, okay, or something like that. Or like, yeah, like you guys said, journaling, yoga. Davina, I started doing yoga in 2018 too, and I need to get back to it because I haven't been doing it a couple of months, but I love doing it too because you get a good release and it's a more free way to, you know what I'm saying, to talk to, God and then sometimes you don't even really need to say anything. I know sometimes we talk too much. And sometimes we just don't even need to say anything, but just breathe and just let things go or whatever. And to be honest, the friendship that I had, that was one of the things. I had a male friendship, and that was something that God had stripped away from me. Even though I didn't think that I was doing anything wrong, but I still had certain ties as far as talking on the phone or, what I'm saying, when they call, answer the phone. And, God was like, that you have to cut um, him completely off because where you're going, um, he can't go, and that is not your husband. So that was one of the things that, and I haven't, to be honest, you guys, I dated since or whatever, and there's a reason why I have not dated, but I'm still open to conversating. I'm still talking to people, just making sure that I'm where that I'm supposed to be, but I'm still open to date. I just haven't dated. So like you guys said, all those things, I think that all of the ladies and all women should, and even, I'm saying, single men out there, they should learn to love themselves as well. Not just women, but men just should love themselves and not think that, okay, I gotta settle for this and I gotta settle for that. And if something doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that it's not the end of the world. I still care for you and I want the best for you, but you're just not the best for me, if that makes sense. So that was our little relationship talk. So if anybody wanna, if any of you ladies want to have anything that you want to piggyback on relationship before I go to the next question,
Oh
we
yeah,
can.
absolutely. Self-love is huge.
Mhm.
As I was saying, I've seen a huge rise of, and I'm just going to keep it real, a huge rise of women with very low self-esteem calling into certain shows to seek validation from people leading these shows who don't even respect women, you know. And when I see it, it really upsets me because I'm like, the person you really should be seeking validation from is yourself. The person you really should be asking these questions to is God. The person you really should be healing is yourself. And I was like, what the real cause of this is because there's a self-esteem issue. There's trauma that's not being healed. There's childhood traumas not being healed that's leading to them seeking validation from other people. And I really want to encourage women that before you go into any relationship, work on your self-love, work on your self-care, get into counseling to heal the inner little girl within you, right? The inner little girl that's hurting within you due to childhood traumas that have not been addressed, and it's playing itself in your adult life and even in the relationships you're going into. Take that time out to heal yourself. Now, I'm not saying you need to be perfect because no one's perfect. We're constantly working on ourselves, but at least go on the journey of working on healing yourself so that you wouldn't have to be trying to seek validation from other people and getting hurt even more and having your spirit torn down, because you're not doing the work. So I just say, women, please, I think self-love is so important, and therapy. Therapy is an important part of self-love. Setting boundaries
Yeah.
is a very important part of self-love because it's not good health for you to let anyone and everyone have access to you. So in terms of relationships, I think self-love is something as women we really need to focus more on, the healing that we need to focus more on, and then implementing the self-care as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off of that. I love that. I think that that's so real. And the thing that I've learned from coming out of a space of being divorced, being single, and then getting back in dating, getting back in a relationship, in a fairly serious relationship, is that I'm telling y'all, I had an early midlife crisis. Like, I'm not over exaggerating. It was, it continues to be such a journey. Okay. So for real. But it's like I had done this work on myself, right? I was in therapy. I was focused on work. I was focused on my daughter. I was making good money. Like, I was good. Taking myself on trips. Skin was good. Like, I was good. And I
Yeah.
got this relationship. And then it became this thing of, um, having to now adjust to another person, because sometimes there are insecurities that don't come up
Yeah.
until you are back in a situation where they're kind of triggered, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Oh yeah.
think
Yeah.
I think going even into relationships after you've gotten yourself together is that grace piece as well, knowing that some things may come up again and make me uncomfortable that are going to have to be addressed.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
this person, for whatever reason, hopefully you're with someone who would never intentionally do that. But whatever it is, it irritates that. It triggers that. It makes you kind of go back to places where maybe you hadn't really dealt with. And I think that that's okay and also normal in relationships too, is to
Mhm.
also give yourself that space and opportunity to go, okay, something's happening here. And I want to be in this relationship. I know I love myself, but something is off. And
Hmm.
just being willing, like you said, to take that extra step and understand I can still have a healthy relationship and a thriving relationship and have days where I feel insecure and I need to go. And that's still on me to take care of what those insecurities are and still make sure I'm taking care of myself, how I need to be taken care of, and not solely rely on my partner to do so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the last thing I want to say is that you're basically touching on like self-awareness, right? And I
Yeah.
think it's important for us to realize that yes, people trigger us and we also trigger others, right? And we rarely do we mean to, right? It's not on purpose, typically. And so if we just stay in the space that most people are doing the best that they can, then it just kind of helps us not react when people are triggering us.
Love
Mm. That's good.
Mhm.
That,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
great. Whew, okay. Let's see if we can get through all these questions. This is good, you guys. We might have to do a part two. But I think that is true too. Um just to answer, and I'll close with that and I'll go to the next question. But even Jessica, when you said that sometimes we trigger others, I remember a dream that I had seasons ago. um and we know that dreams are important. A lot of people kind of look over dreams. I don't know why they do, but I think a lot of people now really get it. Dreams are a part of you, and there is a meaning to certain dreams. And seasons ago, I had a dream that I was dating, and that it was so clear. It was like a mountain view, like we took a walk to the mountains or whatever. Of course, you know, you never can see the other person, because God only gives you glimpses. He won't give you the full details. And so I knew that this person probably was my husband, but God was trying to give me a message about it, about the dream. So he, was sitting on the hill, and I was sitting on the hill. He was like, "Can I be honest with you?" Um, and I was like, "Yeah," even though uh, God showed me myself, I really wasn't comfortable with what he was getting ready to say. But I was like, "Yeah, you can share something with me." He was like, "When people are trying to give you creative criticism, when I tell you something about yourself, you really don't receive it." And he said something else after that, and he said, you gotta allow yourself to receive creative criticism. He said, because you don't. And he says, you kind of get upset, but you get upset inside, and you don't and you won't say you're upset, but he said your face expression shows. And he said, I should be able to give you creative criticism, and everything should be okay, just the way that you would give me creative criticism. So I woke up that morning, because I write my dreams down. And I was like, Lord. And so I got to thinking, and I got to thinking about some of the things that I've said, or attitudes that I got with others, or just because of me. And God was like, that is what I wanted. He just kept taking me back to that moment. You gotta learn how to accept creative criticism, and these are some of the things that you need to work on too before you even meet your husband, because you're gonna need that. So I'm just glad that you said that, just because it made me think about that dream. And I'm just like, sometimes we like, oh yeah, me, I didn't do nothing. But in reality, yes, we do some things. So that was good. That was good, ladies. And what I wanted to ask you guys too, well, is what is your definition of being a strong woman in this day and time? Who wants to go first?
I'd
I
say
think,
being a woman of purpose. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead,
nope,
Queen.
nope, go ahead.
Thank you. I'd say being a woman of purpose. Um, a woman that's really focused on purpose and won't stop until she gets there. She doesn't let anything distort her, whether it's a setback, whether it's naysayers, and whether it's a event or failure. Because I always say failure is not a person, it's an event, right? A woman that is full of purpose and will keep going, and is very confident as well. So that's my definition of a strong woman, a woman of purpose.
That's good.
Yeah, so I'm sure we're all going to say something really amazing. So I'm going to make sure I say something different, because you have a great point. But I'm going to say someone who is able to be vulnerable, because I think we all try to be so strong that we forget to like step into our feminine side. At least that happened to me. I'm from New York. I live in New York, and kind of like that whole like I got this vibe is great until the reality is everybody needs somebody, right? We all need people, and I think when you're able to step into your vulnerability, into your feminine side, there's a true strength in that. And so yeah, I think on top of what was just said, I think also showing that vulnerability and being able to step into that femininity.
That's good.
I love those. Both of those are so good. I'm trying to think of what to add. What I think of, and I'm probably going to say the same thing y'all saying, just in a different way. But when I think of the women in my life, my grandmothers, my mother, my godmother, the people, the women in my life who I consider strong women, all of them believed in something bigger than themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, it wasn't necessarily about like, my grandmother's dream or goal wasn't to start a business. It was to be able to take care of all of her kids in a way that she felt was sufficient in what her responsibilities were as a mother. And she relied on something bigger than herself, and that would, something spiritual to get her there. And so I would say, I'm sure that's a part of that vulnerability, is understanding that not only can your help come from others here in your life, but that you will have to rely on something that will require some faith in order to get you from and through seasons of your life that don't look like you're going to make it or look like they make sense or are going to come together, but that they are. And you trust that, and you go out on that, and you step on that because you know you're not alone, and that you have someone and some things working on your behalf and in your favor.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love it. I love everything you guys said. It is definitely true. And even, with my mother, she's a big advocate. And like you said, Davina, faith, you got to have it. Definitely purpose. Like you said, Jessica, vulnerability. Even when, things are not looking up, you still got to be able, even though you can take that time for yourself, but you got to be like, okay, I got to get right back up and I got to keep going because I know that it's not going to always be like this. And so I think all of those qualities define a strong woman. And just like you said, just being able to be raised by parents who instill that courage in you, to instill that strength in you to keep going, and being able to be vulnerable and be humble and be like, okay, I know I can do this, or I know if this didn't work out, something else going to work out. I know a lot of us have stories where we've gotten knocked down, or we had to start over, or we stopped and started. So I guess that's my next question for you ladies is, what are some of the ups and downs that you have had? If you could just name one, and whatever stumbling block that you went through, how did you get over that stumbling block?
So I'll start. I think my biggest stumbling block has been myself and my limiting beliefs, right? So, and someone reminded me of it just the other day. And so, like I was saying, I was able to climb the corporate ladder, but prior to, I was a young mom. I had my first kid at 19. I never finished school. And I had this thought in my mind that I just had to work harder than everybody else. Like I never finished college, right? And so, but I did climb that corporate ladder. And I remember I was sitting at a dinner table the other day, and this girl was saying the same story. I'm 19. I didn't finish college. Like she felt like she owed it to her company to stay. And I'm like, now I realize, well, it doesn't mean anything. So what? Like, you're still really great at what you do and all of these things. So I think my biggest stumbling block has been myself and my limiting beliefs.
Okay, that's good.
I would say mine has been similar. Jessica, you and I have a similar story.
Yeah, we do.
I didn't finish college either, and that held me up for a long time. I mean, it held me up for a long time. My parents, not that they didn't support me, but they were disappointed. They were disappointed, and I was disappointed on myself. That was the goal. That was the dream. And I had to learn how to sort through that in a way that wasn't like bad, like college is bad, because it's not. It's a beautiful thing, and it's a great opportunity, and it has a place, but it didn't mean because I didn't complete it. And I tried to go back 3 times. So
I tried to go back several times also, and it just
so I just kept thinking that's what I had to, that's what I had to do. And what happened, like you said, is I turned to work. And so much of my validation came from work.
Yeah.
And then when I had this early midlife crisis, it was like, okay, if I don't have the title and I don't have the paycheck and I don't have this, like, what am I doing? Like, who am I now? What am I doing? And I really had to unpack all of that because I belong to me, not a title, not a company, not a relationship, not a man, to myself. And so having to really wiggle myself out of that and pray and really continue to work on the healing from that has been, it'll probably be the biggest downfall and journey that I would go on in my life, just undoing that thinking and having to redefine and it validate myself in other things that I bring to the table that have nothing to do with being a strength in a workplace, that have nothing to do with KPIs, that have nothing to do with a webinar that I led. You know what I mean? It's just, who are you, girl? What is going on? What you bring to the table, and be good with that. So I agree. I think my biggest downfall has definitely been just having to kind of unlearn and allow myself to step outside what I expected myself to do and just enjoy the ride of what's happening and what God has put in front of me, because what is for me, regardless of any other things that may come along the way.
Yeah. Stop shooting on yourself, right? I should be
Yes.
this, I should be doing that. Stop shooting on yourself.
Yes. You're going to shoot yourself to death. It's like, stop that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Mine will be, I call it the perfection syndrome. That's the name I created for it. But I always grew up, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful, to be honest, that I was taught to be a high achiever. But at the same time, that can create the people pleasing syndrome and the perfection syndrome. So you're going to keep wanting to do things to please others, even at your own detriment. And then you always want to be perfect at things. So when things don't go your way, right? When things don't go my way, I'll immediately, like, literally, I'll give it up and run into a shell. Instead of me to say, okay, it didn't work, let me change the strategy and then try this strategy and see if that works. And if it doesn't work, try another strategy. I just quickly just throw in the towel, because that perfection of, oh, it must go this specific way, it has to be that way. And if I didn't get it perfect and please others, or if I didn't get it perfect, I must have failed, or I feel like a failure. So that was one of my biggest stumbling blocks, and I had to work on that, like unlearn the always wanting to go for perfection, because you're meant to fail your way forward. Like you said at the beginning, the failure can be the best thing that ever happened to you. You have to fail your way forward to grow. If it's constantly perfect, how are you going to learn? How are you going to grow? How are you going to receive other strategies that you could have never thought of that can make you successful if it's always supposed to be one way? So that's really what it was for me. So I stopped that. Stop trying to be perfect. And even if you're not perfect, that's fine. You need to grow. You have to learn from this. Don't beat yourself up too much or shoot yourself up too much because it wasn't a certain way or the perfect way. Yeah.
I think the other thing I'm hearing, I just want to chime in here. The other thing I'm hearing is that a lot of times we make up this thing in our mind of whatever perfect is or whatever we should be doing. And meanwhile, the outside people think you're amazing and think it is perfect, right? And so we have this idea in our head that isn't even reality.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't know if it's a woman thing, because women, we do tend to always want things perfect before we move. I was always like, I don't know if it's a woman thing. We tend to want things to be, because we tend to be taught to do things perfectly. So it starts to spread out to other things in our life where, we can't move until this is a certain way. When really you can move. The perfection can come later.
I agree. Just like Davina, you and Jessica was talking about college. Like when my daughter Micaiah, she's 14 now. I was going to school. I think she was probably 2 years old. Yeah, she was probably 1 year old and 2 years old when I was going to school, and I was almost done. And the college that I went to University of Phoenix for 2 years. They were being investigated for fraud or something. And I think at that time I was not working, and I was on what is it? Is it Section 8? Yeah, I was on Section 8 or whatever. The neighbor was letting me use their car to go back and forth to the library to go to school. I'll never forget it. I was just crunch mode. And I started taking up other degrees because I thought that, okay, well, this is boring. I took up healthcare administration, and I'm still in the healthcare field, but I was like, I want to do more. So I wanted to work alongside the doctors and do this and do that. And so I didn't finish. I had probably like maybe 5 more classes left. And I kept saying, I was, you know how they say when you don't withdraw the right way or whatever, they charge you extra and fees or whatever. But you're talking to your counselor, you're talking to academics every day, but they'll still say, well, you supposed to, you missed doing this, so now you got to pay back this much. And so as I got older, I said to myself, Lord, and I've gotten more diplomas, more certifications with the jobs, and I was like, Lord, I never did finish this degree. And I kept beating myself up about it for a while. And then one day the Lord was like, you do not need to do any more schooling. That is in the past. Yes, you did not finish. I kept saying to myself, I was so close. I was like, I was so close, but I didn't. But he said, you didn't stop there. You took other things. And now that you know what your purpose is, you're good. So stop looking back at back in 2009 when you didn't finish. And so that's one thing that I had to actually let go too, because I was wallowing in that. But I had to look at the now and look at the achievements that I have done and the things that I have done since then. So I definitely agree with you ladies by saying, you know, stop holding yourself accountable to what's in the past, letting that go and embracing the now and saying, hey, this is what I've done, this is what I have achieved. And I agree, Jessica. We're I believe that we're just, you know, we have been in our own way at some point, and I'm pretty sure, you know what I'm saying, other people out there can attest. You know, we don't realize that we've been our own way. We'll say that life came. Yes, life did come, because that's life, but we was a problem in our own way too, and we have to move forward and embrace the now. And so that was very great. So do you ladies believe that women are valuable to each other? That's one thing that's been big um with a lot of women. That's been a lot of topics I've heard in the past, that, you know, women supporting women. Are they true to them? We can even get into friendships, but what have you experienced or what have you detected as far as um, women and friendships and being loyal to one another and supporting them in the way that they need to be supported? There was
I'll
a
let,
lot on it.
I'll let somebody else start.
I'll start this time. I think that there is nothing more powerful than women coming together and being able to support one another. I just think to be able to talk to another woman, another being that is built like you're built and has the intuition and the womb and the brain and just the makeup that you have, it's unrelatable to be in some sense for some conversations with a man and a woman. It's just some stuff, you know what I mean? We're just gonna see differently, which is fine in the beauty of that type of relationship. But I do think that there is so much value being able to support and have a genuine relationship with another woman.
Yeah.
I will say also, and Jessica, you spoke of this, and I've had my own situation where one of the most devastating heartbreaks I've had has been with a relationship with one of my closest friends who was a woman.
Mhm.
So I think as powerful as those relationships are, we have to be very careful how we handle them, especially when there is distress
Yes.
or there is some type of trauma or conflict that has happened, how we handle them. Because as much as we can lift each other up higher to a level than anyone else can, I do believe that we can tear each other down more than any other relationship can as well. And I think it's a whole conversation about friendships and communication and the extent, because relationships have to be worked on. They
Yeah.
don't just
Yeah.
happen.
Yes.
And so you really have to, work through those things. And so I think we all know the flip side of what can happen if they don't work. But I think it's a beautiful thing when women are able to come together and build something, brainstorm something, talk about something, create something. I think there's nothing like that type of magic and power and energy together.
I, I absolutely agree. You know, when women come together as a sisterhood to not only build each other up and build with each other, but to also impact the masses, it's so powerful. Like the energy is powerful. And even I've noticed that even when I work with other women who are amazing at what they do, like my business tends to shoot up in a higher direction, because the energy, that the creative energy, women, we are creators, right? We were created to be problem solvers. I like to be biblical with this, where at the beginning God did say to Adam that it's not good that man should be alone. I shall give you a helpmate. And what is a helpmate? A helpmate is a problem solver. So women, we were created to be problem solvers. It's in our nature to be problem solvers and to be creators. So we create, you know, things that can solve problems. And when we do that together as a collective, it is extremely powerful. And I also say it's very anointed as well. I love it. I've been in, events like 2 weeks ago. I was at a boat party, that the first boat party is a women in business boat party to honor Women's International Day month. And I was amongst so many women in different businesses. There's no competition, collaboration over competition. Women in different businesses come together. Oh, I'm in beauty, but I want to learn about manifestation. And I'm like, yeah, I want to learn more about how to do makeup. And coming together and being able to admire each other and say, oh, how beautiful I think you are. I love the business you're doing, and connecting. It's really a magical thing. So I definitely think that, believe and know that women are highly valuable to each other, especially when we come together and collaborate together as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said it perfectly. Powerful and admire each other. I mean, there's no stopping us once we get together, right? So I think more so now than before, there's an awareness around stop, like not critiquing each other so much and stop making somebody else feel bad. I think there's so many limited seats at the table in the corporate environment, which then makes us feel like we have to both fight for the same seat or there won't be a seat. And I think we're moving away from that a little bit because so many women are becoming entrepreneurs and we're kind of finding our own path. And at least in this coaching environment, there are so many support systems out there, and I love it.
Yeah, I absolutely love it as well. And you're right about the corporate world. Not only we taught as women, in the corporate world, from what I've experienced, is like, and I really hate the fact that they do this, but it's something I've seen so many times, pitting women. So there could be two women who they are alpha and they're very successful. And the honest truth is, if those two women come together, it's literally a double threat, because them collaborating together with their creative energy will definitely grow the company and take over. So obviously in a male-dominated corporate company, they're like, we can't let that happen. We have to pit them against each other, right? So that won't, what we know could happen if they come together. So they tend to pit women against each other to not only compete against each other as women, but we're also having to compete against men, right? So we're competing against each other in the corporate world, then competing against men who are in a male-dominated place, and we can't even rest in our femininity. So we're fully in our masculine energy. We're getting burnt out. It's working against us because we can't even be feminine, because we have to compete against ourselves and masculine energy as well. So it tends to be very toxic. I definitely agree with that.
I completely agree.
100% agree.
Yes.
Were you in my experience? Did we work at the same place? Because
as a woman who's in law, because obviously I'm a lawyer and I'm in corporate law. Imagine in a law firm or in any corporate law space, it's male dominated. It's mainly men. So when a woman with a very powerful woman comes into that place, and there's more than one of those type of women, it's like, we have to make her compete with us as well as pit them against each other. So it's like you've got all these darts flying at you, and you can't even be vulnerable. You can't even be feminine.
That is good, y'all. That's good because, even the relationships, not just the male relationship that God was telling me, but there were some female relationships that I was close to too. Even like you said, Davina, like, friendships from school, from high school. And, the Lord just had to let me know, like, that was just for those seasons. It's not for this season. And you know how sometimes you wonder if you done something wrong. And I'm like, no. Then you have to think about it. No, I didn't do anything wrong, because as women, you're supposed to be able to sit down and have a complete, grown, mature conversation. And if that other person can't sit down and have a conversation about, why we're not talking, why we're not mad at each other or anything like that. And so if that other person refused, or even just say vice versa, if I refuse and then I'm not mature in that area. And so, God had to let me know you done your part. Where I'm taking you, they can't go. And he was like I'm talking about all types of relationships. And then when you get into this new season, there are people that know you that can't believe that you're in this season and that you're around these group of women that they've never seen before, that they don't know, and they're like, well, so and so, why you didn't tell me? I could have went, or I could have did this for you. But I think people don't understand. No, this is a new season for me. That even
Right.
though I care for you and I love you, that is not something that you were supposed to be participating in. You were not supposed to be participating in what I am doing because you have your own life. And I think people just don't get it. And I think God was saying that people just don't understand. So they get all upset and they get all in their feelings. Well, Karen, you didn't tell me, Karen, you didn't tell me that you were doing that. Or Karen, you didn't say that you was doing it. But people have to be mature enough to understand, well, Karen is in a different season, or Davina, Jessica, or Veritas, they're in a different season, and where they're going, it's not going to always include me. And I don't think other people realize that. They feel like they need to be in your corner because they've been there. Oh, well, I know you, or I knew you from school, or,
Right.
I know you from somewhere else. So I feel like I need to be there. Or they get like a little attitude and they kind of show it if they don't say anything, and they be like, well, was that Karen, or um was that Jessica, because she didn't ask me, I could have went. And it's like, why does that have to be like that? Why do you feel like, why do you have to get so say, why can't you just congratulate me, where I'm
Yeah.
at? Why can't we just celebrate? Why can't you just support? Why do you have to get emotional, like upset and mad because you wasn't there? Because everything
Yeah.
is not meant. I mean, everything is not meant for that person. If you're in a season where God has you at, and then that other person, they're in a season where God has them at, but I think that other people need to be excited for you, and they should congratulate you, whether you're always around each other, whether if you're not talking on the phone as much, or if you're, what I'm saying, it's okay. And that's something that God had to let me know, Karen, it's okay. You done your part. They don't want to talk to you. They're not meant to be in your life. They're not meant for you anyway. If they want to stay upset and they want to stay mad because of whatever, you done your part. Like, you were the mature one. You were willing to sit down and talk, but if they can't have a conversation with you and if they can't celebrate with you, and then they're just not meant to be for you. You
Did
know.
me and you go through the same thing? Because you're speaking directly. And I mean, because everything she just said, oh, I knew you from school, and people are seeing you, they see you going to certain places, hanging around with certain people, and they're like, well, you didn't tell me about it. And it's like, okay, well, my response is, you didn't tell me you wanted to be there. I didn't know that. So how am I not psychic? Things like that. And what you just said, I recently had and it's a hard part of growth. These are hard parts of growth not many people talk about, because I had friendships that I was in for 15 years, 12
Mm,
years, school days, that are no longer existent because of that. Right. And I was willing to talk things out because I'm like, you know what? We're sisters. I'm willing to talk things out. But they decided not to talk to me.
mm,
And the old me, who was the people pleaser and didn't know how to set boundaries, would have been like, okay, let me go and chase this person and be like, what's going on? Please come and talk to me. But the me now is like, I don't need to chase. I did what I could. What you just said, God said, you did what you could. They chose to
mm-hmm.
exit. And yes, it hurts. Yes, it bruises you, because it's like, yo, like, I saw you as my sister. I saw you as someone I could. But if this is how you want to move, okay, cool. Well, that I just have to keep going forward. I have to keep going towards purpose. I'm not going to spend time trying to chase something that. So what you just said is like, I was like, did we go through it at the same time and
Mm-hmm.
all across the pond? Because the same thing happened to me like not too long ago. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? He's telling my story to me.
Yeah.
Like,
I
it was
mean,
hard, but I have to accept it. Like, okay, this is hard and it hurts, because these are people I love. With me, when I love my friends, I love. Like, I really
mhm.
love you, and I'll go all out to do everything for you. But then it's like I have to put me first. So the same thing happened. You know, people see you grow, and instead of clapping for you,
Yeah.
they want to make you feel guilty and then not talk to you. And you're like, but I didn't do nothing. Like, was it? So thank you for telling that, because I now realize I'm not the only one dealing with something like that, and it's part of the process. So thank you for sharing that. That's really helped me.
You welcome. You welcome. So how are you ladies on time?
Oh, it's just 5 minutes after midnight here. I'm all right.
Girl, you like are seriously? Are you?
Yeah.
Listen,
Okay.
straight
Yeah,
after,
me too.
straight
Just
after, I'm gonna
Davina,
pack because
how are
I'm
you on
finally.
time?
Say it again.
How are you guys on time?
I'm okay right now. I probably can do another 15, 20 minutes if
Okay.
Same.
others are
I can
available.
do another 30 minutes, sis. That's why I said I might.
Okay. Okay, because I didn't know if you guys wanted to do a part two, or did you want us to keep going on?
I would love to listen.
Yeah, I'd love to go part two.
I'd love to do a part two.
Part two,
This has been
Jessica.
a very
Part two,
connecting
Oh yeah,
Davina.
I think a part 2 is good. Yeah.
I think it would be
Yeah.
great for us to do part two on Instagram since we wasn't able to get on Instagram.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
so what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up part one then, and you ladies, let me know when you want to do part two. With your ladies, excuse me, you're not guys, ladies, what your ladies schedule is, and we can finish because of course I got a lot more questions, and I know we dived in. But just let me know when you ladies want to do part two, and we will be live on Instagram for all of our Instagram followers to join in or whatever. How about that?
I
Yay.
love it.
Yeah,
I'm here for
love
it.
it.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I love
Okay.
it.
Thanks so much. I'm having fun with you ladies, and
I love
I
it.
know that
Karen, I
we're
just
all
want to say thank you for bringing us together because I wasn't connected to Davina or I'm sorry, say your name one more time.
You can call me very tough. Call me V. V is fine.
V.
Perfect. I was not connected with Davina or V, so I just want to say thank you for bringing us all together.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank
Because
you,
our
thank you.
energy is just aligned so magically. Like I said, when women come together,
Yeah.
the magic is incredible. And I'm just loved already. I feel like I'm talking to sisters that I
I
just met.
know.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
Same.
Yeah, I'm excited about part 2. I'm looking forward to it. And I like Instagram because my mom will be able to see it and she'll love that. So
Yeah,
I'm
my followers,
excited.
I think my followers, they'll definitely love the conversation. It's something my following need to hear. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, ladies. Okay, so everyone here on YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter, thanks so much for joining in. We will be doing a part two, but we will be Instagram live. And these ladies, Davina, Jessica, and Miss V, we will be back to finish the conversation. Thank you so much, ladies, for taking time out to be dedicated to this women's panel and get to know one another and to just to share your stories with everybody else out there. So we will be back, you all. So stay tuned, and everyone have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.